Hi there, my name is Patrick Woodhead and the lead on Filecoin Beam. In this tutorial we'll look at how Filecoin Beam works. So Filecoin Beam, you've probably seen it described as a data delivery layer or an incentivized CDN in the docs. And yeah, those words are technically accurate, but they don't really tell you much about what's going on under the hood. I want to actually walk you through the mechanics, what Beam is, how the different pieces connect, and why it's designed the way it is. Now, strip away all the buzzwords, and Beam is a network of caching nodes positioned between people requesting data and the storage providers holding that data. Think of it as a web of servers scattered across different regions around the world. Each one keeps a cache of content that's been requested recently. Someone asks for a file, the system checks if a nearby Beam node already has a copy. If it does, serve from there. If it doesn't, go fetch from the origin storage provider, deliver it, and cache a copy for whoever asks next. Caching, not revolutionary on its own. What makes Beam different is everything else wrapped around that basic behavior. Beam has this smart contract sitting on the Filecoin blockchain called the verifier. And every time a Beam node delivers data to someone, it submits an attestation to this contract with specific metrics about what just happened. What kind of metrics? Time to first byte, that's how fast the node started sending data after getting the request. Whether the delivery actually succeeded or failed somewhere along the way. Total bytes transferred. Throughput during the transfer. The verifier checks these attestations and records them on-chain, and anyone can read them. So you end up with this transparent, immutable record of delivery and egress performance between the storage provider and Beam, and between Beam and the end user. And you can pull up any Beam node or any storage provider and see its actual historical performance. Now, the payment model of Beam plugs directly into the verification system. Beam connects to Filecoin Pay, the programmable payment layer for Filecoin Onchain Cloud. When the verifier contract records a successful delivery, that record becomes the basis for payment. Node operators aren't sending invoices. They're not haggling over rates. The smart contract sees what got delivered, does some math based on how much data moved, and transfers tokens automatically. Current rate sits around $0.014 per gib of egress. Node delivers 100 gib of egress. It earns roughly $1.40. Straightforward arithmetic executed by code with no humans in the loop. That's the paper access thing you'll see mentioned. Charges based on actual verified data delivery. No manual billing. No disputes about what happened. Currently there is a reference implementation and instance of Beam run by my team. Soon we'll allow others to join a consortium of companies and teams running Beam nodes. So why would anyone run a Beam node? What's the angle? Well, the payment structure creates financial incentives tied directly to performance. Node operators earn more by delivering more data. They deliver more data by being fast and reliable, because the routing system favors nodes that perform well. So there's a straight line connecting invest in better hardware and network connectivity to make more money. Traditional CDN companies work differently. They charge customers a fee and then try to keep their infrastructure costs as low as possible to maximize the spread. The incentive points toward doing the minimum acceptable job. Beam runs the opposite direction. Node operators are competing to deliver better performance because that's what drives their earnings. The metrics are public, so reputation actually matters. Nodes that consistently deliver fast, successful retrievals attract more traffic. Nodes that don't. The same goes for storage providers, which are the origin of the data behind Filecoin Beam. They will be measured in the same way when it comes to their egress to Filecoin Beam. Market mechanism where quality wins. Now, all those delivery metrics going on chain means you can aggregate them into performance rankings. Beam has public dashboards showing how different nodes are performing at the storage provider level. For builders, this helps set expectations about performance. For node operators, it creates accountability and a way to show off quality. For the network as a whole, it keeps everyone honest because poor performance isn't hiding anywhere. And if you're trying to debug why your retrievals are slow or picking between providers, the data exists. You can actually look at it. Now, let me walk through what happens when someone pulls data through Beam. The pull request comes in with a piece CID. That's the content identifier for whatever file is being requested. The Beam network looks at where the request originated geographically and routes it to the nearest point of presence of the Beam network that's nearby. That point of presence, that node, checks its local cache. Is the content there? Then it serves it directly from the cache. Quick path, minimal waiting. What if the content is not cached though? We call this a cache miss. In this case, the point of presence fetches it from the underlying storage provider that's storing that data. This takes longer, since the data has to travel from wherever the provider sits. Once it arrives back at the node, the point of presence, the node serves it to the requester and stores a copy in the cache for future request. Either way, cached or fetched, the node generates an attestation with the delivery metrics and submits it to the Onchain verifier. Filecoin Pay then processes payments based on what got verified. The whole thing runs automatically. The user gets data, the Filecoin Beam node gets paid, the underlying storage provider gets paid on a cache miss, and a permanent record exists of what's happened. Beam is optional within Filecoin Onchain Cloud. Basic retrieval comes bundled with storage. Beam is the upgrade when you are needing CDN-grade delivery, global edge caching, fast time-to-first-byte, reliability under heavy load. You use it on a per dataset basis. Some content uses standard retrieval, some uses Beam. Pick based on what each piece actually needs. Integration runs through the Synapse SDK, like everything else in the ecosystem. Not a separate system to wire up. A setting you enable when CDN delivery makes sense. That's Beam. Caching nodes with on-chain verification of every delivery. Payments flowing automatically based on what actually got delivered. Incentives structured so operators compete on quality. Public dashboards making performance visible. CDN-grade delivery for decentralized storage, with blockchain receipts proving what happened. That's how it works.